A box curriculum is a curriculum that basically comes in a box. Hi, Carol here from That Irish Schoolhouse. Welcome to my channel. Today we are talking a little bit about curriculum. What curriculum I used, what worked, what didn't work. So in my previous video on my budget, I talked a little bit about our curriculum journey, but basically when we decided to homeschool, we had already chosen a box curriculum. A box curriculum is a curriculum that basically comes in a box. And it is all the books you need for that level, for that child. You don't need to supplement anything. And it does the whole year. And so that suited me down to the ground, because I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed with what were we going to do, what were we not going to do, how was I going to make sure that my child stayed at a certain level, that he was developing at the right pace, at the right stage. There was already a little bit of pushback, not pushback, but people not understanding our reasoning or why we were doing it. And so we wanted to make sure it was going to work. We wanted to make sure that we even had enough evidence for people who were like, wow, what are you doing? How are you going to teach your child? Type of thing. And so we felt that the box curriculum was going to work well for us. And actually, I genuinely thought that it was going to be what we used for the next 16 years. Unfortunately, it only lasted about 2 months. But as is life. So what drew me to our box curriculum, which we chose, was Sonlight. We chose Sonlight pre-K, which was the age that my child is junior infant. So the junior infants course age in Ireland. They have a teacher's guide, which basically has the name of the book, how many pages you should do every day. So I thought that that would be perfect. That would be really helpful for me. I wouldn't have to plan. I wouldn't have to get an Erin Condren planner, which I still really love, but probably would be useless for me. But I just thought that that would be super. Unfortunately, my son didn't really enjoy that. He didn't enjoy the Charlotte Mason style of reading a lot of books, but a short amount of all of the books. We appreciate the merit in that. We appreciate that style. We appreciate where it's coming from and how children learn using that style. I think there are some children, some different cases, who it just wrecks their head. And that was with my son. He just got so frustrated every single day when we had to move on to a different book, when he wanted to do more pages. And so very, very quickly, I think within the first 2 weeks, I got rid of my friend. And we basically just picked books out of the book box, and he chose maybe 3 books. We would read as much as he wanted, and then we would do his written work, and then again he would maybe choose 1 or 2 books and read as much as he wanted, as far as he wanted. The written work. Developing the Early Learner. There are 4 of these books, which is basically a lot of black and white, mazes and things, but it's very repetitive. Like, I think there are 6 or 9 different skills that they are teaching or going over, and so it was basically every 6 or 9 days you were doing the same thing. So with that, because he didn't like to stop, I was going at his pace with the written work as well. He was getting through it very fast. We could do maybe 2 or 3 weeks worth of written work in our 4-day homeschooling week. He did it. It wasn't challenging enough, and I was supplementing, and we got to a point where he was like, oh, just don't want to do it. He was bored basically. So that's where the supplementing came in. That's where, when I was talking to my husband, I said, look, I've been researching. There is another option. I know we've spent a lot of money on this Sonlight, but can we try something else? I ended up downloading The Good and the Beautiful. I downloaded the sample sheets and tried them for a day or two on it to see if he liked it, how it went, and I talked to my husband about it, and we ended up making the splash and going all out and buying a second curriculum. Fortunately, there was a PDF version, which I think was $15, so maybe 11, 12 euros. And so I printed that out and we went ahead with that. There was a huge difference in my son's demeanor, in his excitement for the lesson, for his written work. Instead of doing, you know, a couple of days worth of pages, we were genuinely only able to do one lesson at a time. I think mentally they were tricky to a certain extent. They pushed him, where the other written work, where the previous Sonlight written work didn't, and yet they were engaging enough that he wanted to do them. He was able to complete them, but I think mentally it was hard, which I guess is what you want when you're trying to train people. You want them to try again and again and again, and then get better, get quicker, get faster. And that's how learning happens, basically. So I really noticed a big change from the beginning of when we started using The Good and the Beautiful and when we finished our homeschool year. He went from letter recognition, which he already had. He went from just letter recognition to being able to sound out words, 3-letter words, to then being able to read sentences, including 3-letter words. He didn't master it, but it was good enough that without any prompting, he could go through a whole, they give like little mini books for them to read as well, that he could read a whole mini book without prompting, very slowly, but he could read it. And so that was such a joy the first time he read it to my husband, and my husband's like, wow, you can read. And I'm like, yeah, see that? I did that. It's like when you have a baby. See that? I made that. So yeah, so I really enjoyed that, and I think that is why we decided to continue with The Good and the Beautiful this year. My daughter is doing pre-K, The Good and the Beautiful. My son is doing K, The Good and the Beautiful. Already he's been learning sight words, and he is just straight back in. He's excited to see his new readers, and to see what this year holds. Let me know if you have any experience with either of those curriculums, how you liked it. Maybe I didn't give Sonlight long enough, but at this stage, I think you just got to go with your mommy instinct and just do what's right for your child. Definitely The Good and the Beautiful is a good fit for my children, good fit for me. The lessons aren't too long. Again, at this stage, that my kids are very young still. They are not doing any sort of self-directed work, so it's very intensive for me. And so I do like that it's kind of all laid out in The Good and the Beautiful. So it is the 3rd week in August, and Neve started last week while the boys were at a holiday club, just so that I could ease her in and get into a little bit of routine, so that she kind of knew where she was coming from and had a little bit more mommy time, and got a bit more used to the curriculum and our day. And then Hunter then started this week, so that's been working well so far. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.